Johannesburg, a commercial crucible where money is churned and fortunes are made or lost. Little wonder then that political parties are gunning for control of the country's economic hub. In the last municipal poll, the ANC scored 45% of the vote to the DA's 38%. The EFF became kingmakers, holding the balance of power in Johannesburg with 30% of the vote. The Democratic Alliance and the ANC unable to exercise absolute control, even with the help of all other parties without the EFF. Initially, the DA entered into a coalition with smaller parties as well as the economic freedom fighters. This led to then DA mayoral candidate Herman Mashaba being appointed after winning a council election with 144 votes to the ANC's mayor Park Stow's 125. Over the years, the constant influx of economic migrants has put pressure on the city's finances to deliver services like housing, electricity and jobs. It's also spawned frustration and political apathy.
Okay, in the city of Joburg, honestly speaking, it's not all that bad. There is the good part and the bad part, definitely.
Virtually non-existent. We've had power cuts, the roads have potholes in them.
She says they don't have electricity, there's no pavements, no roads, and they don't even have nearby transport for their children. At least one economist says South Africa's runaway unemployment rate is a ticking time bomb, with a staggering 10 million young people without jobs or a future.
We used to be Africa's #1 biggest economy. Nigeria has taken over, and yet we talk about the city and we give it aspirational terminology like a world-class city, and yet we can't even do the basics. You can see that what happened in the 2 weeks in July was bound to happen. It was a powder keg waiting to explode. It was a tinderbox that could have been set off by anything. Anything could have set it off. Even a derby between Kaizer Chiefs and Pirates could have set it off. And here's the lesson for me as we go to the 1st of November elections. Until and unless we are deliberate, purposeful, conscious about eliminating those elements that are underlying and led to the 2 weeks in July, we are bound to have another one.
According to the city's 2020-2021 IDP, Johannesburg has 1.8 million households. Approximately 133,540 households have no electricity connection. The lack of electricity in the city is most prevalent in informal dwellings and informal settlements. Energy expert Ted Blom says the culture of non-payment of services such as in Soweto could cripple the city.
The Soweto debt is actually far bigger than what is shown in Eskom's financials. Eskom has written off the Soweto debt every 5 years as it becomes non-collectible because of prescription. The amount that's actually been written off since 1985 is in excess of 20 billion, if my memory serves me correct. And they've just recently written off another 5-odd billion rand due to the induplum regulation, which is that you can't charge interest on top of interest on top of interest. So yes, the Metropolitan Council of Johannesburg, or the ratepayers of Johannesburg, cannot and will not be able to afford to carry the Soweto non-payment burden. It's not possible.
Some water disruptions have also demoralized citizens. So with water disruptions being one of the concerns, the City of Johannesburg says the rapid growth in informality has resulted in infrastructure disruption due to the illegal connection of water, and that resulting in pressure on the infrastructure exceeding capacity. This new reservoir is planned for completion in November. The city has obtained unqualified audit reports since 2016. It believes it's in a fine financial position.
like any other municipality in the country, and probably in the world. The city of Johannesburg was also hard hit by the pandemic, COVID-19. But we are grateful to the residents of Johannesburg that those that could continue to pay for services continue to do so. We are collecting way above 83% during the tough times, and we have since increased our collection levels to just over 90%, and we are grateful because those collections make sure that the city is able to continue to provide services to its residents.
The Cocta Standing Committee in the legislature, however, does not agree.
The city, yes, it has been getting unqualified reports from the Auditor General, but one of the amazing things that drew our eye as a portfolio committee was the changes that we saw, especially in the entities of the city, where we experienced UIF and W, that is under expenditure, fruitless and wasteful expenditure in some of the entities. While some, yes, did a bit well, but others also started struggling.
From 2012 until 2020, Corruption Watch says it has received over 33,000 whistleblower reports countrywide, 16% of which are in the local government sphere.
The majority of these complaints come from Gauteng, and within Gauteng, most of these reports come from the city of Johannesburg. About 700 of these reports emanate from the city of Johannesburg. And these reports speak to bribery, procurement irregularities, employment irregularities, abuse of power, and embezzlement of funds as well. And what we found from the whistleblowers is that most of these reports occur from the office of the municipal manager, they occur from local and metro police officers, and they also occur in the human and housing settlement. Transport also accounts for about 5%, and also the office of the executive.
So amid the frenetic business of power, financial trades and world-class financial systems, the concerns are similar to that echoed across the country: a decent home, electricity, water provision, service delivery, free education and jobs. Chriselda Lewis, SABC News in Johannesburg.